and then we had the preliminary back in November. And we figured out that there had been a notice problem. The notice hadn't gone out to adjoining landowners as it should have, so we it's a do-over. So we wanted to this is it's a 4-lot subdivision, so it's a major, so this is the preliminary hearing.
Yep.
2.0.
Gotcha.
So Josh, since Jason, since Josh wasn't here, can you just
Sure.
give him the
want us to come
synopsis?
up?
Yeah, just come on up and give him the synopsis of it. Because Josh, if you might remember, this is the one where there was originally a PUD and there was a big chunk of land, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a big chunk of land out in the back that we wanted to be more integrated. Was it a 4-lot in the beginning?
It was.
All right, and so the lots have been reconfigured a little bit,
Which map would you look up, Jason?
PL1.
and our concerns, the applicant addressed our concerns in some fashion. So there, you remember this one, Josh?
I do. Yep.
Yeah. So that big chunk up in the northwest there, that was set out as common land before, and we felt it was just kind of hanging out there without any integration. So it's now been
Incorporated in lot 4.
incorporated as part of lot 4. So Jason will take us through.
Yep. So what we've done, Josh, essentially when we met with sketch plan, we had 4 smaller lots that were sort of out. This parcel, this portion of the property was the southernmost portion and west of 116. I think if you look at the pins, back corner of lot 4, we basically had lot 4 being another small lot, and we had remaining land or common land that was still associated with lot 5. Based on the request from the board, we basically took that lot 5 area and incorporated that into lot 4 so we could make up the full density of the project to meet zoning requirements. Still having it as a PUD, but we do have the full density for those 4 lots. So the portion in the back of lot 4, there's easements that basically touch all the properties, and it allows access to the rear portion of lot 4,
Which will be conserved.
which will be undeveloped.
Yeah.
I
And
see that. Yep.
did the access way change? I
We
think it was
did.
different from, so take Josh through that.
Yeah, so we, actually, the access didn't change. We actually added another easement based on our meeting
Right, okay.
last night. So the map actually that Chris has, there's an updated version that I think did we email that over to you, or we will, I can't. So there's an easement now that we've added, and that was at Kevin's request, right where the lot 4 verbiage is, right? It goes basically from the right of way out, and then it goes up. So the right of way actually goes, we've changed it, so the O'Connor parcel,
It goes further west.
it goes further west. And then we also added a second easement that goes up by the lot 4 word, right? It goes straight up, so it connects those 2
Right.
easements. So all the parcels that are in this development have access to that remaining land, or the lot 4, the 16 acres in the back.
So I'm going to try to repeat what you just said, and you can correct me where I've gone wrong. So essentially this public or the shared access to 116, you're going to have a theoretical or you're going to have an easement that walks along that red line between lot 3 and lot 4 to where it abuts the westernly neighbor,
That
and
is
then turns north.
correct. Yep.
Okay, I think that's really smart, because I've seen folks lose paperwork over years, and some of these easements that seem like they're part of a square property and not clearly in a shared border can kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good move.
So for final, that that final Mylar, which will be not the Mylar, but the final plat version will have. We've extended the right of way down. That was actually to meet requirements with V-Trans. And then to do that, where we talked about last time at the hearing, we actually then put a spur up to the north to connect with those other right of ways. So there's interconnecting easements that allow for access to the back part of the property by all 4 lots.
And
Okay.
you've got your AOT access permit.
The access permit's been granted, the wastewater permit's been granted, the stormwater design is here and ready to go. We typically don't kick in stormwater until after preliminary, just in case something moves, because it's like
Yeah.
a domino effect if we
So-
have to go back and.
So are those dashes around the buildings, those building envelopes?
Those are,
Okay,
yep, the purple lines are the building envelopes, those are the purple indicator being the building envelopes, the dash black
We
ones,
put up
those
the
are the.
wastewater, we had an isolation distance before.
Yeah,
Mhm.
S1 or S2,
S2 probably, because isn't that the close up?
that zooms in.
Okay. So just orient Josh on this one.
So Josh, you can see the road, the access, the front apron would be paved for V-Trans standards to get into where the end of the right of way or the edge of the right of way is. The access is due west, gravel access road, and then each individual driveway spurs off of that. We do have a hammerhead turnaround at the end, which does allow for fire truck turnaround, emergency vehicle turnaround. Everything's there, the wastewater system.
I don't see the hammerhead though. You're gonna.
There's one there and it goes loops right around.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had to get the driveway in for lot 4, we had to push
Yeah,
off
yeah, I get it now.
the road to get to there.
So does this show the extent of where the actual driveway would be, and then there would just be an easement on
Correct.
Pate?
Yeah, Yeah.
An easement right away to continue further to the western boundary.
yeah, the light gray hatch or coloring shading, if you will, that's the end of the actual shared drive, then the easement continues on so that it joins the O'Connor property.
Okay. And so we've got, remind us what, there are some shared wells.
There's 1 shared well and 2 individual wells. So lots 1 and 4 are shared, lots 2 and 3 are each individual.
Okay, and 4 individual on-site septics, in-ground septics, right?
Actually, 2
Two?
shared,
2
yeah.
shared, okay,
Lots 2 and 3 share a system and lots 1 and 4 share a system.
okay,
Each, all the good soils are up near the road. That's where we were able to achieve conventional systems. With the state, met the state regulations and the state wastewater permit has been
Tom's here
issued.
now.
So, one pump station for each system, 2 septic tanks, 1 for each house.
Hi,
That all
Tom.
makes sense to me.
Tom is here now. Tom, this is the redo of the preliminary hearing on the 4 lot subdivision up on 116. I think you were here for the first go around, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Unmute him, Chris.
I can't actually.
Can you? There we go. I'm trying to unmute you, Tom.
No, I was there. I think they've actually been before us twice already. And
Yeah,
so
there was-
I got it.
Right, I know. There was sketch plan initially, and then we had a preliminary, which we figured out that proper notice had not been sent out, so we're redoing it. And
Right.
since we were short a body tonight, we lassoed Josh out from dinner. And he jumped in, so Jason was just
Oh, I apologize for being late. I was on a conference call. I just couldn't get off. So
yeah,
that-
so
Josh,
Jason-
thank you for doing that.
No worries.
I know our quorum is close these days.
Jason had just been walking Josh through the revisions and the preliminary plan since he wasn't here at the last one. So and then I noticed you were here. So
Good.
do you have any other? Does that cover it?
That's good.
Do you have any other questions, Josh?
No, this all makes sense to me. I appreciate the detail.
Okay.
Thank you.
Folks.
Yeah.
Is that
I
what
see the pump station down here.
You know what? I didn't swear you. You solemnly swear the evidence you shall give, head, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do.
Oh, you have to swear him in each time? You've sworn him in before.
Well, I know, I didn't say your. So you solemnly swear the evidence you should give before this development review board should be the truth, the whole truth.
The whole truth. Nothing but the truth.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
What's your name again?
Chris Shaner,
Okay, and.
Leo Orvis.
Okay,
Okay. Since we took and talked about the wastewater last time and we never got notified, so that got put into the category, it's better to ask forgiveness than it is permission. That's the way I'm gonna stick with it, because that's the way it goes. Rich always get it that way. I've seen it. And my problem now is got a pump system and a septic tank. How far is that away from Leo's land?
70 feet.
well, which one? Are they together?
There's a 50-foot right of way in between, and then there's probably,
And you got this stuck way over the pump house.
yeah, they're outside of the 50.
I can't tell, I can't.
There's a 50-foot right of way from Leah's south line. to the-
Let's
to-
try and get,
Trying to get zoomed
Get it
in here as much as I can.
and maybe you can help orient.
So where my cursor is now,
Right there,
yep, this is 50 feet right here, sir.
okay? Now. Will they put down that that will never interfere with her land if it breaks?
the pump
And they
station.
can't tell me it will never break, cause I know that.
The well?
No, it's a pump station for a septic system.
Would,
And where's
Okay.
the field going?
we don't control wastewater, period.
You don't, but there's nothing on marking on her land. in it. Sorry,
My point is, we have no zero jurisdiction over wastewater permits and how they function or don't function. It's outside our purview. It's it's,
I know leach fields are, septic tanks you can change at your own.
well, no, she's got a wastewater permit, or he's got a wastewater permit with an approved design, it can't be changed
It's
without,
approved design, yes.
and so
If you
that's,
look at what we argued about last time we were here, was up above. South,
has it changed? The design changed?
there is nothing on wastewater permitting that would take a leak over here, nothing. That's all I'm saying, I mean,
Okay, fine, all right, you have anything else?
yeah, there's a part right here, it says. What was that one? And this is only what it says in this paper, this is from Vermont.
That's the letter written by the.
Right.
attorney.
Portable
The overshadow.
water supply and wastewater system on my property. It doesn't say anybody else's, but mine. I don't know, maybe I didn't go to school enough to know what mine means, but
Yeah, that language we actually can't change. That was written by the A&R attorneys, and that's the overshadowing notice that we have to give.
Right.
So that's state statute.
Right, I understand. Anything else?
no, I guess if nothing else you wanna take and really listen about.
No, I'm asking you if you have
I
anything else.
said
that
there's
you-
nothing else I wanna take and, I mean, I've already brought up things and you guys shut them down as fast as I bring them up.
Well,
That's why I wanna
no,
take
no,
them
no,
myself.
you know, that's just not fair. You want to argue with us or have us
Yeah.
to weigh in on the wastewater permit, and we have no legal authority to do so. It's exclusively the state of Vermont's call.
Right, but all I was saying is, if you look at the top of the page, that's where they had the wastewater zone.
The isolation distance.
Right, it has nothing to do with the bottom property. Now, if that gets contaminated because one of the pumps break and blows it over that way, it's her property that gets ruined. That's
Then
all I'm
she,
saying.
then if the owner's septic system pollutes her property, then she has a claim against the owner.
I would say it would be the one to put it
And there's an alarm in that pump station, so if it does break, you get an alarm, the pump gets replaced. It's really pretty easily fixed.
Yes, I know, I've changed a bunch of septic tanks.
The permit doesn't
I
provide
know.
protection against liability for contamination. if the contamination goes off site for some reason.
We're trying to take it and stay away from her property. That's all I was trying to do. That's all she wanted to do, make sure that her property would be just as good when she's 100 than it is now.
I understand.
And as it is, it's crowding it out and crowding it out. So,
Okay. Anything else? Any questions? Do you have anything, ma'am? No? Any questions from the board?
Yeah, just one. I know this has been discussed before, but I just want to make sure I'm clear on it. The right of way, we're not asking it to be a full-fledged trail or have any surface or anything, but it will be a cleared trail in the sense that they're not just hiking through the woods.
Correct.
There will be some kind of identified trail area that they can walk on.
We did. We actually, Tom, to answer your question, we did make those revisions and we'll be presenting that at final plat.
Yep.
That trail will actually go along the back edge of the tree line. And so that'll be it can be a demarcated path, but it's not actually in the swamp per se.
No, I don't care. Just so it's not, walking through the woods,
Correct.
with brush and stuff.
Yeah.
I
It'll
don't
be
see it on the plan. So do you mind if we put that it'll be a demarcated among the conditions? I
Yeah,
mean,
and we did last time. We actually, we made those revisions to the plan to present it final. We
Okay.
did those revisions. It's not on, that's the one that we presented last time at final. So it.
okay, all right, okay. I just don't see it on this one, but okay, if it's there, then I'm good.
Yeah, and we're gonna see the extension of the driveway easement, not the travel way itself. To the west and then turning north to right along the common boundary line with whose property is it?
It's
Yeah, I
actually-
think it's fine. And I remember you moved the right of way from along the line to there. That's all good. I particularly think that in order for that to be useful in the back, there has to be a clear trail to back there. So that we're good.
That's a good point.
And there is, it'll be actually open. It'll be all open.
That's fine. That's fine.
Brenda,
I'm actually gonna stop.
I'm just sort of wondering, who will pay the taxes on the undeveloped portion of the land? Is it all belong to them all equally and they divide it up or what?
They'll have rights to use it for recreation, but that'll be part of lot 4. It's simpler to keep it with one parcel.
So it's lot 4, so lot 4 owes the taxes on it, but everybody uses it?
But Brenda, usually as a practical matter, that lot 4's taxes won't be way higher. It's really the building on there that
it's the
dictates
building,
the tax.
right?
So it's not like they're gonna end up with a gigantic tax bill.
No,
Especially, I just never thought of it and I just started to wonder
It's
how one
it's a
would
good-
tax it.
It's a good question, but I think what they're doing is the right way to do it.
Yeah, and the property tax value is, so the assessment is driven by the house in 2 acres. The marginal increase of extra acreage beyond that is actually pretty small, especially if it's undevelopable land, which is this area is really swampy.
Last 2 wetlands, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway, whoever decides to buy lot 4 will have a bit of an additional burden there, but that's not our concern. If they take it, they take it.
So what is that land like? And how big is that parcel?
The total parcel of lot 4
Yeah.
is the
The
rear.
community, part of it.
The rear part, there's like 2.5, 3 acres out front, and then there's,
Yeah.
there's 14, 16 total. So there's
Okay,
about 12 or 13 acres
Okay.
in the back. It's, Kevin described it, it's swampy and wooded, and it's,
Mhm.
abundant with wildlife, so you can do
Mhm.
walking trails.
and so is it mostly wet out there?
It is.
It is.
There's a brook that runs right through the middle of it. It's actually on our survey plot.
I'm
And
curious, does it have like a lot of invasive species, like low, heavily, I don't know how to say it, not trees, not so much, but all of the kind of brush?
I don't know if they're invasive out there. It really is, it's essentially what it is. It's a wooded swamp.
Yeah, okay. It's all good.
Yeah, beavers come in, make a pond, dam goes out years later to come back, it's,
Josh?
I have a question. So I believe the laws as defines a wetland recently changed, maybe as late as this past summer. Is that an accurate statement? And can we revisit the boundary of the wetlands per your plot? Or are there wetlands on the property?
There are, in the rear portion, some of the wetland regulations, Josh, did change this summer. They went from, if you had a half acre or larger in size, where they could have before been classified a class 3. They're now being classified as class 2, and they were state regulated wetlands. They didn't really, it didn't affect this property per se, because this has always been an area with class 2 wetlands. We didn't put the class 2 wetlands on the survey boundary, but we do have those on the site plan. And we actually, before we started this project, we actually visited the site with the state wetlands ecologist and walked them out to take a look at where the development was going to occur. And she was on board with everything that we were proposing as well.
And you're clustering the development away from the wetland areas. And what is the border away from the wetlands? What
50
are both the regulations and the operable offset that you have in the
Yeah,
plan?
so for class 2 wetlands, it's a 50-foot buffer.
Yeah.
Wetlands are actually out a little ways into the wooded area, so we're well over, it's not on the
Oh.
survey plat, it's on S1 or 2, I believe.
Okay.
If your question in part was a general one about which law or which controls, Josh, when a regulation changes after regulations or after an application has been filed, the law in Vermont, it's a minority rule in the country, but the law in Vermont from the Supreme Court is it's the laws in effect at the time of the application that control. So even if there's a subsequent change, those continue.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
Whether it's zoning or wetlands, it's the Vermont rule. It's a policy choice by the Supreme Court, but it's been that way for.
So is the first official hearing, or is the sketch plan review the first official hearing for this review?
Well, this is the first hearing, but it's the time of the filing of the application that controls.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
And
But
and
As I
also
understand,
the
actually make a
wetlands,
difference, right? We wouldn't have to do there's no aspect of your application that would have to be done differently based
No.
on the new regulations, so we're
no,
good. no
no,
matter-
the regulations didn't affect these particular class of wetlands because they were already considered.
Already class 2, yeah.
Okay,
So you can see the wetland boundary is demarcated by WL.
Yeah.
And then the wetland buffer is WB, that's a 50-foot offset.
Okay,
So everything that we're actually proposing is hundreds of feet away from where those wetlands are.
Yeah, this was more of a question of curiosity. I know that there's a lot of wet area down in that part of 116, so it was more of my curiosity.
That whole valley at the base of the mountain all the way south is wet.
Yeah, there's quite a bit
Yep.
right in behind.
Thank you. That was my question.
any,
The water doesn't start right at the tree line. There's a lot of dry land behind the tree line. It's quite a ways before you get back to where it's wet.
Yeah,
and wetland boundaries are really, I mean, we kind of think, oh, there's got to be water around, but those are
not necessarily.
sketched out by looking at the soil profile and the plants that grow there, and so it may look walkable, it may in fact be walkable, but it's still or most of the time, but it's still the wetland.
It's what Zapata says.
Yeah, Zapata's been out here.
So does it make sense to have have this wetland boundary and wetland line on the final plat?
So let me, can I comment on that?
Sure.
Okay, so we typically, wetland boundaries get delineated every 5 years. That's
Okay.
what they're good for. And when we record a final plat survey, obviously, you know, Kevin, we
Yeah.
put it in the land records thinking that's gonna be
That's good.
100
That's it.
years.
Yeah,
So-
right.
we tend not to put lines on
No.
that are subject to change
That
every
makes
5
sense,
years.
yeah, all right, that
So-
makes sense.
What-
You can, it can be part of the final submission, be part of the town's file,
So
but the
this
actual recorded plat.
won't have that.
won't
That's
have
why
that
we
on.
don't put it on there. We have, but it is subject to change. So if someone grabs
makes
our
sense.
plat in 15 years in the land records and says, I'm good to go, these wetlands could essentially have creeped up to the east. So we hate to give them the illusion that.
Yeah, yep,
It's
no,
not
no,
there.
that makes good sense.
And just to expand on Josh's question a little bit, now the state has incorporated what's called a permit navigator. Where each time you submit a wastewater permit, all of the other agencies get notified. So the wetlands agency gets notified, the stormwater gets notified, everybody gets notified, so that's brought in, and this map actually gets recorded in the state database, so it's there forever and all time.
Okay,
Honestly, guys, if it keeps raining like it did all this summer, it might be a lake.
There was a lot of wetlands, Tom.
Lot of water this year.
Still is.
okay, so. Any other, aside from the extension of the right of way that we talked about, any other items that you anticipate will be on the final plat that aren't there now?
So we talked about the extension of the right of way and the easement that goes north. for the
Yeah.
Walking path.
Other than that, so that'll be the addition to the proposed final plat.
Yep, and those changes have been made.
Okay. So do we schedule that now or?
You had already tentatively scheduled it for the 8th of January,
Yeah,
I believe
I
was the
would-
date.
because once this hearing's over, we're ready to submit an application. The changes to the drawings have been made and then it's final.
Okay, and you don't have to go through Act 250.
We don't have to go through
Not the
Act
January.
250. We will be submitting
9.
the stormwater permit
Right,
on this one. We probably won't have the stormwater permit back by the 8th, but I'll be willing to bet we probably have comments back from the regulator.
okay,
It's the 9th, so my bad, I said 8th first, but it's the 9th.
okay,
Tuesday's the 9th.
so we will continue, well, it's
No.
not a continuation. The final hearing, what we expect to be the final hearing will be on January 9th, 2024. And I don't know if we have anything else on the agenda for that night. We do?
Yep, Heffernan will be in with a preliminary for their subdivision that you saw the sketch plan last week.
Oh,
meeting at.
or the one on Plank Road.
Yep, and there may be another sketch plan
Okay,
sometime in that ballpark. so.
okay.
So what date, 15 days prior? Whoops.
Question, you just mentioned January 8th, and I mentioned January
Nine.
9th.
9th, it's my
I'm
bad.
trying to figure out which date it really
Nine.
is. It's really 9, okay.
Yeah, it's definitely the 9th.
But wait a minute, did you say 8th, 9th, or what? So.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Thank you.
So 15 days prior, we're right at Christmas.
I would say Christmas morning.
Yes. Is that gonna work? The mail?
I mean, you really need to notify by the 22nd is because of the holiday is what it shakes out.
Well, if you put me on for the 9th at 7, can I send the warnings out before I submit my application?
Yeah, I mean, if we set the date here and you feel that you're gonna have me,
I have to warn, I mean, I
I'm
have
with
to
you.
warn next week if we're gonna do it on the 9th.
so do I.
Okay.
Cause I have to get it to the.
I'll have an
Yeah, but
application
with the
in.
warning, you don't actually submit materials. You just
No.
say what the hearing is.
Send the letter out. I'll have everything in almost simultaneous, but if I have to warn, I don't wanna wait until the
No, you're,
Christmas day to start sending it.
no.
No, that's what I'm saying is I would have,
It's a minimum warning date.
yeah, no, I'm good with the ASAP.
No less than 15 days, so.
So January 9th at 7,
Yes, that's when the meeting will start.
and that'll be the final. And we'll have the updates.
To me, as soon as possible, so you can match to the board as soon as possible as well.
And before we submitted all the wastewater plans, details, everything, like, do you wanna see all that stuff again? Or is it just pretty much the final plat and the updates to the site plan?
You can send it as a packet the way you normally do with sort of everything. It would be great. Because usually one zip file and then I'm able to maintain that as its own standalone.
So just an e-file,
Yeah,
okay?
you give me the e-file and then have paper copies available when you're here, one copy for the hearing.
Can do.
Sounds good.
All right. That's all the business we have for tonight, right?
We have two sets of meeting minutes. to
Oh, that's
approve.
right, that's right, that's right.
But we're
Thank
done
you.
with the hearing aspect of it. The
Yeah.
hearing is closed.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
We've just got meeting minutes, Josh, and I don't think you were here for either of them.
I am gonna take that and run.
All right.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
No worries, happy to do it.
you-
Have a good night.
Hey, you're parachuting in. All right, so.
I'm gonna just, that's well. We'll get to the meeting minutes in just a sec, folks. I'm just gonna mute us here just while things shake out, while folks are able to pick up their stuff. So we'll be right back in a minute or two. So we're unmuted here. I think we're ready whenever you want to roll.
Okay, so this is, we're first taking up the November 14th minutes. Very nice job, Carol.
Thanks, but I definitely want to hear any feedback and anything that isn't.
I
What
think they
you're
look
expecting.
fine.
Screen share then.
So the,
I'll move them.
Carol? So on, the tops of the pages for the page 2, 3, and 4 for it says Bristol Planning Commission, November 7, 2023 meeting.
Yep, I noticed that actually when I started the minutes for the November 28th meeting. I will, and I neglected to fix that and
So
send it
fix
off
that.
to Chris, but I will fix that.
Thank
And
you.
then on page 3, just before the last I think we should be accurate that it was determined at the hearing that that notice had not gone out as required to adjoining landowners. Therefore, we rescheduled, we decided to have the preliminary hearing scheduled again after notice had been given. Proper notice had been
Okay.
given. Something like that. Because that's what happened.
Okay,
And that's why we ended up with 2 preliminary meetings, which is unusual. Brenda, anybody else have any corrections, revisions to the November 14 meetings?
I have a comment, and these are some of the most complete and readable minutes I've seen in years.
thanks.
And so that that's a former teacher telling you that.
Yeah.
And also someone who's been to a lot of meetings.
Yes. So that's high praise.
Any other corrections or revisions to the November 14 minutes?
No.
Seeing none, I move that we approve them with the corrections discussed tonight.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
So we have Kevin, Ted, Tom, Brenda. So that's 4-0. John was also there, but he's not here. Next up, we have the November 28 minutes. So that was the continuation of the Masterson Development hearing where we heard from the traffic and noise/sound engineers. Hey, Carol, on both of these, it says hybrid public meeting. I don't know what the heck that is, but just say public meeting for the DRB.
Okay,
So both the November 14 and November 28 minutes. I know that's the planning commission does something different. I'm not sure why, but
I think it's just their way of saying it's both on Zoom and in person.
oh, could be.
I've seen other people do that too.
Okay.
Reading it. PTSD moment.
Yeah.
A lot of times, your children, especially if it's your first child, well, they don't talk yet, so they don't know. Oh, is that, oh, no.
Hmm.
Then later, the next generation came along, you let them make a mess. And, you know, we didn't do that. It was just happening. Yeah, yes, it was just. My grandmother saw me feeding somebody. She was like, that just blew her away. That you were gonna feed her baby up.
Okay, is anybody? People still reading or are we?
I'm good.
Okay, Brenda, good?
Yep.
Does anybody have any corrections or revisions to the November 28 minutes? Okay, seeing none, I move that we approve the November 28 minutes as written. Ted seconds, all those in favor?
Aye.
Brenda, and so 4-0 for that one as well, Carol. So that's good. Do we want to talk about scheduling a deliberative session? I know the 19th hasn't come and gone yet, but Masterson, we were going to have a deliberative session scheduled. The 45-day clock is going to start on the 19th of December, so We can't take too awful long before we. And it doesn't have to be on a Tuesday. It's not an open meeting, so, is there a time during the,
Can we just attach it to our meeting that we're already having on the 9th, or do you want to do it sometime separate?
boy, I wouldn't want to.
You've got 3 items that evening as it is.
Okay, what's our other meeting in January?
23.
Too close.
Well, it's still way less than 45 days, but okay, you want to,
It's
You
not
wanna-
gonna, no, well, we would have lost a month by that point. That gives me like 12 days to write the decision, which isn't, yeah.
okay, fair enough. You're doing the hard work, so.
You know,
we'll-
and, you know, I don't know how much deliberation we'll need. It's hard to know. I prefer if we got together even by, you know, here and in person and on, it could even be on both on Zoom as long as Chris is able to do it, or if we can all just get together some night and at least start talking about it.
I could check. Is January 2nd out for you folks?
It's not out for
That's
me.
the Tuesday. The planning commission, that's their scheduled night, but Tom, didn't. Oh, you weren't there when we were talking on the planning. I almost think they've gone to the 3rd. Let me just check. Let me call Kevin Hansen real quick.
Okay, did anybody go up for a site visit?
I did.
I did. And Helen Young, it was a Saturday, the first Saturday after that meeting, Helen Young and Mr. Fox, I've forgotten his first name. Tom Fox were there as well, so we did not engage, but walked around together. I was there for quite a while.
The one thing I observed, I don't know whether, I was surprised by the amount of, there's a pretty substantial excavation there from back in the Johnson days that I didn't realize was there, you know, in front of the present storage area.
Yeah, I think that some of that gravel was actually done by Josh to build the road.
Could be, but that's a big excavation. So I'm guessing, and then I asked Chris about it. He tells me that Johnson took a lot of gravel out of there over the years.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was helpful to get the sense of the changes of elevation, which aren't so easy to perceive on the map, especially when the contour lines are close and tiny and you know, your map's not that big. I thought it was helpful to get the lay of the land. I didn't realize there was such a big hill east of the topsoil and gravel area.
Yeah, that's the area I'm talking about. I assume
know.
that hill is a result of the excavation that it's sort of carved out of that hill.
Yeah, no, I think part of it's natural. Yeah, they
That was
carved out
what,
that
that's
bank.
the thing what surprised me. When I saw that, I realized how much that's kind of buried down into the
Yeah,
topography.
I climbed up it. It was pretty steep.
Oh, you're tougher than me. I didn't try that.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on that?
Talking deliberative session. You know, the bit about site visit, Ted, and it can be hard to get hold of. It's like, it's not evidentiary. And if it is, it has to be put onto the record.
Sounds
And
good.
so, you know, it can help
Thanks so
orient
much.
you so you understand what you're talking about. But as far as picking up observations and things like that,
So January 2nd is available.
are you guys available January 2nd maybe to at least get a crack at it? And if we need a second meeting, then we can do it on the tail end of the second meeting, as long as the agenda doesn't get too big.
It's not a great night for me, but I'll try.
Okay.
Well, I think it's pretty important to have you involved in that, Tom.
No, I want to be there. Just I've got a whole family gathering that night. So
Well-
I'll try to do it. I won't be very popular, at least with my wife, if I disappear for many hours to do this, but I'll try.
Well, what time is there we're not wedded to any particular start time. So would a little bit later be better
Or earlier?
or a little earlier?
I'm guessing a little later, would probably be a little better.
Okay.
It get me clear of
Dinner.
a big family dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's check one thing.
So if we started at 8, would that help?
That would help.
The third might actually work too.
Well,
That Wednesday.
well, what, if Tom has a big commitment on the second, why don't we pick another day?
That's what I'm working on.
Well, partly if people aren't gonna be here live, if people are gonna be here, I can let people in. But if we're gonna if not everyone's gonna be here and we gotta do this, we need Chris. I think it's helpful to be all together, but, and because
Yeah.
we can look at things together.
I would.
I'll be happy to have you guys all come to the Virgin Islands, but I definitely won't be there. I'll be in the Virgin Islands.
Well, I would hope that 4 out of 5 of us could be here.
Yeah.
Well, do you have the written materials? I mean, it's gonna.
Yeah, I printed them all out. I've got them.
But are they?
The only thing
they
that's a little,
big?
yeah, well, big enough. The only thing that's a little tricky, I mean, I brought this up to the applicant. To be honest with you, they're a little bit of a moving target because they've made some concessions. Their expert testimony wasn't totally consistent with what they previously said. So, I mean, we can use that to create our own conditions, but I think the applicant owes it to themselves to be very clear in what they're asking for.
Well, I expect to have submissions from the applicant by the 19th as well. That's how we left on that point.
Yeah,
That's how we
and
left
they
it.
said they were going to do that, so
Yeah.
we should be fine.
Okay. Well, my thought is if having some of the plans on bigger paper would be helpful. Chris could print out on bigger paper and get it in the mail to you before you go. I'm just not, these maps on, 8.5 by 11 are really not helpful.
11 by 17 seems pretty decent.
Yeah, I know, but most
we're
people
talking about
can't
next
print.
I
that.
know.
Next week.
Yeah, I mean, your point about maps is right, Kevin. Bigger maps are always helpful, but honestly, the tricky things there are traffic and noise.
No, I know.
And-
I'm
yeah,
just
so-
thinking of you.
Yeah,
being-
I'm fine with it. I mean, I am pretty much in the month of March I'm there, but January, February, April I'm in the Virgin Islands, so I'll be attending by Zoom.
Yeah, okay, but would it be helpful for you to have 11 by 17 hard copies of the maps before you left?
Yeah, I can do that if Chris wants to print them for me. Sure.
I just think it might make it easier for you participating remotely because especially if Chris can't be here or can't be there the whole time, pulling up the maps and
Yeah, that's
throwing a
fine.
cursor.
That's fine. I have previously printed out what happened, but you're right. They're not that big.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that. The 19th, we're not actually meeting. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
That's just a deadline
Okay.
for this hearing to close by stipulation.
I could make January 4th work, which is a Thursday. I don't know how well that
That's
works for
fine.
anyone else. I'm just
Doesn't
giving
matter-
that's
doesn't
I'm
matter
just
to me.
saying that's like
Would the 4th be better for you, Tom?
Honestly, what it is that week I had the whole family with me in the Virgin Islands, so it doesn't make a difference. Second, fourth, whatever. It's just a deep family week, but I'll make it happen.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Maybe Chris, can you?
The 8 o'clock is a help for me because it gets me out of the
Yeah.
right out of the dinner hour. So
Are you on Eastern time or Atlantic time?
it's we're the same time this year. Once daylight savings is over, it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were an hour ahead of us.
Don't have daylight savings, so it does get to be an hour different the other part of the year, but not the winter.
All right. So let's pencil in the 2nd or the 4th. Chris, can you talk to John and see if there's a problem with either, and just so Chris will let us know whether it's going to be, since there's only 5 of us. I want everybody. I don't want to have a meeting that one of us can't make, and so if John says I can't do the 2nd, but I can do the 4th, it'll be the 4th, and Otherwise, it would be the second and we'd have some additional time if needed, which I hope we don't, but you never know.
It's good.
All right,
I'm good with that.
okay, all right, we'll adjourn for tonight. Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good meeting.